That led to a huge problem. Rot had set in, structural failures were beginning, they're abandoning the homes with foam in them. So spray foam got painted immediately as the bad guy. Any home that had foam in it was just an automatic fail. Well, hello everybody. Mike with Spray Jones coming to you with another video. And nothing is more important right now, I think, than the UK roofing crisis. Why? I've had 75-year-old farmers that want to get spray foam in a barn that I've been quoting on ask me if they're going to be able to get insurance on the building having to do with the roof. Well, where are they getting that information from? Well, they're watching it and they're getting a lot of misinformation, misconceptions. There's a lot of guessing that's going on as to what the problem is. And that's exactly why this video is being brought to you here today. I want to get to the root cause of this, and we need to do more exposure, more education on this. And I want to give a shout out right now to Mr. Doug Brady, president of Huntsman Building Solutions in the United States. He sat down with me for a video conference and explained to me exactly what I'm about to explain to you. I'm not being paid at all. This is me doing this to try and help the industry and explain these in my own words so that we can all be edified and brought up to speed. Stick around. I'm going to keep this to 10 minutes and under. And every one of these 4 bullet points that I'm about to give you here is a direct alignment as to what happened and why. Okay, first thing in the UK, they have the oldest housing stock in all of Europe. We're talking 200, 300, and 400-year houses. That's not the norm, but they've got them. And people live in them. And most of these homes do not have the ability to stop a lot of water from coming in. They need a lot of roof repairs. They deal with slate roof. They deal with felts, timbers, and they have very limited HVAC systems in them. So as a result of being in a cold, damp climate, it's easy for them to have constant, persistent damp and moisture issues. Once the roofs start leaking, these are slate roofs. They can be very costly and timely to go in to repair. So going back as far as 20 years ago, somebody had the idea, it was wrong, but they had the idea to use closed cell spray foam in the beginning, in the inception of this, to retrofit existing homes that they didn't need to. They thought, oh, well, we won't pull the roof off. We'll sell this as a solution because UK has very costly energy. They have a lot of damp conditions. So win-win. Let's bring you in, retrofit you with closed cell foam. Then you don't have to put a new roof on, stop the water from coming in. You're going to be warm. You're going to be dry. As we know, that is a terrible idea. When you have a compromised envelope and you've got a lot of moisture ingress, you have got to deal with that first and then deal with your envelope interior second. Bullet point number 2, fact number 2, a lot of high pressure rotocull sales were used to market this to elderly people, 60, 80 years of age, with old buildings, limited finance. Say, listen, you don't have to spend 20,000 pounds on getting your roof replaced. Why don't you just get the closed cell foam? It's win-win. And they never even stopped to think about why. The homeowner, building recipient, was not educated on what the pitfalls and problems of this would be, and it sounded like a great deal, so they went out and did it. That led to a huge problem. Within 5, 6, 7, and even 10 years, the roofs were being totally and utterly destroyed. Rot had set in, structural failures were beginning, and now you're having surveyors or building inspectors, home inspectors coming out. They call them surveyors in the UK. They were coming out and inspecting these problems because a lot of the spray foam guys were not picking up the phone call anymore. Surprise, surprise. They were in the wind. We call that in North America taillight warranty. You know, boom, they're gone. You only see the taillights. And the surveyors went in, started to see that the product they didn't know hardly anything about and how it worked and why it was installed. And they just threw their hands up in the air and said, we weren't trained. We don't know anything about this. And they started to fail the homes at the inspection level, saying this was wrong, this shouldn't have been done. And then when their reports are given out, they're abandoning the homes with foam in them, whether the foam was a problem and was having an issue, or they were failing homes that hadn't even had a problem yet. So spray foam got painted immediately as the bad guy. Any home that had foam in it was just an automatic fail. And as you can well imagine, this went downstream to the insurance companies because they're not wanting to necessarily pick up the tab for a very bad, stupid installation. And the spray foam contractors gone. The people that got paid to sign these deals up and do these retrofits, they're gone. So there's nobody downstream to sue and go after and collect the money. So the insurance companies are sitting there saying, well, why should we be paying? As soon as they don't want to pick up the tab to fix the home because it would cause massive losses on their books, then they're not going to want to fix it. You've got a homeowner that's sitting there with a damaged home and they're underwater, right? They've got no way of paying the mortgage. The home might be unlivable. And then the mortgage companies very quickly are going to instantly back off and say, well, there's no way we want to carry the mortgage on this. That spawned the fourth and biggest thing, and that is the spray foam removal business is born. So now fear is being used to tell people people, look, any foam, whether you're having problems with it or not, you're not going to be able to get insured, you're not going to be able to sell, you're not going to be able to live, you've made a terrible mistake, and you should be paying us immediately to remove this. And a lot of the companies that were first doing the high pressure sales of putting the foam in, shut the doors, shuttered the businesses, and then just opened up and got a new business going, and in the removal business. Imagine that. So round and round we go. And as you can well imagine, with fear being driven into the removal, the conversation can get out of hand, and that's where we find ourselves today. So Huntsman Building Solutions have been doing an enormous amount of work with the UK government to try and pull this thing out of the fire. We have a phrase over here called, you jumped out of the frying pan and into the fire. Well, they're in the fire. The first thing that's being done about this is to involve the National Insurance Association, get dialogue, get education, get an open conversation going at the table. Number two, they've had to drag the surveyors to the table and educate and edify them. What is going on? What should have been done prior to? What can spray foam do and not do? How should it have been installed? Is it right product, bad installation? Is it bad installation, bad product? All of those things that go with it. Get them to understand what they're seeing so that they can do better pre-site inspections. That leads to releasing more guidance. But still, with all of this being brought up and being educated, as much as 25 and even sometimes as high as 30% of insurance companies and lenders are still holding out and not wanting to issue mortgages or insurance because they're scared. So that means number four, you've got to rotate into getting 10 Downing Street, which is where the government is. That's the equivalent of saying going to Washington or going to Ottawa, and engage government. Why? They need to clear up the misconceptions. They need to address the proper health and safety issues. How are they? Where are they? What's going on? What's going right? What is going wrong? And show them we're not having issues in North America. We're not having issues in Canada. We're not having issues in the United States. We're not having issues in Ireland and in France where spray foam is being used, closed cell foam. These are areas with similar build dates for age of buildings and also climate zones. Why are they not having issues? Because there's more pre-inspections, there's more understanding on how to use the product, and it was a good chance to show that education and proper techniques within the whole entire installation and inspection agency can avoid these problems. But still, there was a lot of knee-jerk reactions. And this is nothing new, folks. You might say, oh, well, this is due coming, and I think I agree with them. Remove this stuff. Don't let it in. Well, that's not the right thinking. The UK has had a huge issue in the past with mines that collapse. They call that subsidence, when a mine collapses underground. So you can have a massive amount of houses over top of a mine site, and if the mine starts collapsing, they'll shut down a whole entire community. So surveyors in the past used to have knee-jerk reactions as well and say, well, you're over a mine site, and we don't know what's going to go on here. And then lenders and insurance don't want to underwrite. And back in the day when the subsidence issues were at an all-time high, the UK government had to get involved and take on some of the underwriting and re-establish trust that the banks and the insurance companies could actually underwrite these things and not be left hanging out to dry. So what are we going to do about it now? Well, a lot of very smart people with systems expertise and educational expertise are having to go in and get the conversation going with UK Finance. And UK Finance is who is going to be responsible for bringing the last little bit of lender and insurance company holdbacks back to the table. The lenders don't want to hear from a chemical company that their product is good. They need to hear it from the government officials that it's verified, that the necessary checks and balances are being done, and that there's a system in place to have good quality control and good education, and therefore you can actually loan money and expect things to last where people can still pay and have good products. So the final closing comment that I have on this is that from personal experience, I know that spray foam closed cell and open cell is still being very much installed in the UK. Don't tell me that it's banned outright and nobody will use it. And I've been on the phone, I've been on conference calls with people that are actively having very advanced and good careers in spraying all aspects of homes in the UK. So I do not believe that this is going to be a problem in North America for all of the reasons that I've just gone through. So stick around. This is the kind of education that you're going to be seeing on the new platform. Very well connected educational videos. And if you've got a question or a comment, lay it on the video here. I'll get back to you as best as I can, and we'll catch you on future content.